All right, hello and welcome. This is Katie, your broadcaster, coming to you live from beautiful somewhere in Texas, wherever those dang toucans in Texas come from, as we get into our Division 2 matchup for the night between the Shanghai Lotus and the Texas Toucans. Two teams in Division 2 that are leaving the standings tied for 7th place, so whoever comes out with the most points in this series tonight will end up being the one taking that 7th place spot and sending the other down to P8 as we get a little bit later in the season. Two teams, despite being a little bit lower on the standings than they'd like, with plenty of season left to play, some strong players on both sides. The Lotus, with the recent duo transferred over from the Castors of Mouse and Mini in the front end, up against the forwards in what looks to be tonight the matchup of Style and maybe someone else. Looks like we have Freddy on defense. Style still waiting for his winger, but we will see. Okay, looks like it will be Yuno. It will be Yuno, the captain of the Toucans, starting for them tonight. Let's do a little bit of looking at some stats. Let's look at some the numbers for these teams, as we have from last week. The Lotus coming off of a win and a loss, the same for the Toucans, so both with a little bit of the same momentum as we look at their rosters. Mouse and Mini being the likely score leaders, and Hakavi, if we see a presence from him, also a noteworthy forward for the Lotus. With the Toucans, like I said, Yuno and Style, but also Squiggles, if we see some squiggling tonight, leading with some points. 6 goals and 8 assists for Squiggles. And with Style with the most points in the team with 6 goals and 12 assists. Really getting involved everywhere there. And interested to see how these two teams fare. We have Mal in net for the Toucans, and we have Bard in net for the Lotus. I don't know if Mal has started much outside of the typical gold trader in the crease, so we will see how Mal does, a notable goalie, as I get into my puck watching mode as we kick off this first game, maybe? There we go. Little pause action, but now we kick off with the puck starting off, dropped back into Shanghai territory. Yuno there, scooping it back to Style, seeing what he can get done with it. Pass right out of the crease, but Yuno not back into the slot in time to get the tap off of that, as that's going to get sent back into center ice. Mao's making a play off the boards, trying to get around Goose here. Goose, a known powerful defender, kind of old head presence, I believe, some time back in those HQM days as well. And some new younger talent in their captain of Yuno, a veteran row hockey player, I believe, as we get the puck ripped behind the Shanghai net. Mini picking it up in the back end, known for his walks up the ice and stretch passes, seeing if he can make his connection with Mouse tonight, that dynamic duo. As the puck is cleared into the corner, Yuno picking it up, wrapping around Style, not quite able to get it. Catches up eventually. Anarchist, one of the defenders for the Lotus tonight. An extra special defender, as he served with me on the Charm City Croakers in the preseason tournament before season 1. A stalwart defender, always there when you need him. Just a pleasure to have on the ice. As we get Bard clearing it up and over a Toucan to get it a little bit further down the ice, but not quite getting the connection, as Styles able to catch up with Yuno there. Yuno loading up his shot and ripping it low into Bard's stick. Swiped away easily this time, but feeling out that offense, kind of working up those chances as Goose rushes it, loses the puck there to Mouse. Mouse almost rushing it the same way, but instead is able to fire off a shot a little bit low and wide. Dan almost able to get the rebound, but not getting a goal off of it just yet. Mouse fighting a little bit by the net, but Goose there to pick it up again as he scoops it up and over, down the other way. Getting a cheeky little tip on it, but Dan's there to turn it back around. A little scrum in the center here as Freddy comes away with it. Freddy, also a Charm City Croakers veteran. Kind of a battle of the Croakers here. Both typically ended up playing defense for us, so little defensive matchup, just a little cute thing to keep track of as we get about halfway through this first period. Now sending it down, trying to find a teammate. Mini picking it up, seeing if he can get a shot off here. Fighting through some sticks and not quite able to get the contact that he's looking for. That is going to be end of that attack. Getting another shot into Mal, knocked away and ripped up and over. Mini picking it up though. We can do turning it around. Finding some space here. Loading up that long shot, but drops to the ice. Not as much height as he might have wanted. A dangerous shot if you do it right. That long shot up and high. Any shot off the ice is dangerous for a goalie. As Dan gets his shot ready here. And that one is going to go in. Dan breaking the ice with the first goal of the night for the Shanghai Lotus. A little cutback and loading it up. Mao pushed out of the crease, but just not quite in the way of that puck. A beautiful placement by Dan to get this game started off. And let's see if the Toucans are able to find a response, or if this is going to be a really big momentum swing for the Lotus. Style in middle ice, trying to fight around Anarchist, but not getting the pass that he's looking for to Yuno there. And Mao's fighting for the puck in the corner, ends up whipping it out. Dan picking up again, he's got one, maybe he's going back for another. There's no coverage on him, loading up another shot, and thankfully Mao's able to stop that one. That was looking dangerous again. The defense looking like it's just falling apart for these Toucans here. Not kind of catching up on these turnovers. And this has been a scary start for the Toucans. The Shanghai Lotus buzzing now on their offense. Dan, the only goal scorer of the night so far, getting a second chance. And let's see how the Toucans are able to respond. Anarchist picking up the puck, ripping it down, stretching through the middle, not quite finding a teammate down there. Yuno picking up in his own end behind the net, trying to scoop it around Dan, safely over to the stick of Style. Catches it off the boards, gets a deke around. Mao's there, gets a deke around Anarchist, loading up his shot, but just knocked off his stick by a variety of Shanghai Lotus members. And once again, back in his corner, picking up the puck, trying to get another play going. This time, Goose is going to pick it up off that pass. Tries to chip it up and over Mini, but Mini ends up coming away with it. Kind of closing down that angle, turning it around, hoping not to turn it over with Style, applying some pressure here. As that puck sails up and down into the hands of Anarchist. Knocks it to the side. Mini almost able to catch up to it, but ends up going to Freddy here. Seeing if he can find a pass or a shot to get this match tied back up. But ends up losing the puck on the wall there as the Mini gets another stretch pass. Not a very valuable chance. Mao's wishing the puck kind of went a little bit shorter so he could get a piece of it, but play is going to die for now as we get some battling back in middle ice. Style picking up in the opponent's corner, ripping it across, and we get the Shanghai goalie of Bard and the captain as well. A little last tap of the puck as this first period ends, and I'll be honest, I wasn't really expecting Dan to get that first goal, but he had a really beautiful shot to make the most of that chance, and honestly had another really good chance at a goal. So I'm interested to see more of him. I've been seeing him around in pugs, been practicing his game. You'd really expect Mao's, Mini, or maybe even Anarchist with his long shot to be the one that does it, but good old Dan, there when you need him, leads off this game. As we get into this second period, Mini picking up the puck in his own zone, kind of squeezing him out, but he's able to clearly rip it up and over. Freddy ends up catching it though, as is there in the corner trying to get a pass around the rim to Style. Ends up kind of getting it to him, but a bunch of guys know as Anarchist decks in the back end. There's some members of the audience cheering after that one, but we'll see if this ends up continue to be an ugly game, or if we can clean up our act a little bit. Who's picking up off the boards, off of that rim, knocks it to Freddy. Freddy trying to deke around Anarchist, that Croaker clash in center ice. Freddy, a few nice dekes back and forth, maybe going to get a shot here. Rips it, but just a little bit high and left of the net. Style not quite able to catch any kind of rebound off of that, as the puck is sent back over to Toucan territory. Mao going to step out and wipe it to the side as we get Mini picking it up. Now not able to connect with a fellow Toucan on that clear, as Mao's pressures it off of Goose, trying to get another chance, but not just yet. Dan in the back end picking this one up with Mini as an option, and he's going to rim that around, although it looks like Yuno's going to pick this one up Maybe not having the foresight of checking the minimap before that clear as that puck drops in the sky. Mao is knocking it to the side. Let's see if he can get something done. A great shot, but Mao getting the tip of the stick on it to knock that one down. That's a great save. And the one benefit of those long shots of your goalie, they could be a little bit scary, but you have a lot of time to line up that stick contact. Get Mao's knocking the puck down out of the air again, getting another little low ripper. Anarchist in the back there, maybe going to squeeze it or wrap it around. But Toucan's able to get it out of the zone with moments to spare before that became even more dangerous for them. Part of the light, little weak clear, but thankfully Mao's is there. Ripping over to Anarchist, but not quite getting the one-timer on. It looks like that puck was skipping on the ice a little bit, and Goose is going to end up coming away with it there. I just got a error noise on my computer, which can only mean something, probably something good happened. It looks like my recording ran out of disk space for that, guys, so make sure you check the VOD on the Twitch after this game. As we get Freddy ripping the puck over low and to Bard, who does not let it go in that 5-hole, keeps it tight. Freddy again picking up the puck in his own zone, trying to get around Mouse here, but Mouse gets a little bit of contact there. Thankfully, Yuno's there to safely scoop it away as he tries to get around Mouse once again. Finally able to do so, skating it up, getting some soft deeks in middle ice. Ripping it again low and straight at Bard. Bard saying, you know, none of these easy goals are going to go in for now. He's able to just keep that stick low, stay attentive, and not let anything dumb go in, which is what you always hope to have happen when you're in that goalie position. Puck getting sent off the wall. Looks like Mini will be there to pick it up. And turns it back around. Pardon me. And another stretch clear. Yuno, nice heads up play, knocking it onto the ice. Off that clear, Mini not able to connect with any of his fellow Lotuses, any of his fellow Lotus players. Let's see if he can load it up again. You see that stick tilt, you know it's coming. Mao is able to pick it up this time, knocking it laterally to Dan, seeing if he can pick it up off the wall. Looks like it'll actually be Mini this time. And not a shot on net per se, but Mao's picking it up again, but not gonna get the pass that he's trying to do to center that there. Gonna be squeezed out by the Toucans. As the Shanghai Lotus try to load up another attack, not going to get it. Style, seeing what he can get done with a quick deke, but Dan blocks it. And Yuno not going to get any whiff of that pass from Style as the Lotus clear it back down the ice. And a little battle on the boards here. Mao's trying to come away with it, but like it'll be a duel here. Not sure who's going to come out with it in this corner battle. As Dan picks it up and almost gets another goal off of it. It looks like Freddy chips it up and over the net to keep it safe, or relatively so, for the Toucans. Another shot coming off there, I believe, from Anarchist. Mao see what he can get done, but Mao in the way. That Eminem play right there. And it looks like 30 seconds left. This second period is seeming to be scoreless and just leaving that 1-0 lead for the Lotus unless something happens in these last moments. Yuno handing it off to Style here, moving up center ice. On one of the last plays of the period, they'll be able to get off. Nothing very convincing as Dan's able to do a stretch pass over to Mao's. Freddy picking up with 8 seconds left. If they want to get it done in the second, this is the time. Yuno in the back corner, 2 seconds, rips it up close, but nobody on his team there to pass it to. And that is going to take us into the third. 1-0 for the Shanghai Lotus. And curious to see if they can hang on to this, or if we'll see any mistakes, any cracks start to form. Anarchist with another body there. And it looks like Freddy is being subbed out for Squiggles. Squiggles, as I said earlier, notable point scorer for the Toucans. So maybe that little shake up in the lineup will give them the change that they're looking for. As not even waiting until that second game to make that sub. They're trying to go for the win in this one. Style with a nice little deke and a nice play by Mini. It was scary for a second, looking like he might own goal, but he gets his stick up and over it and safely knocks it out of the slot. A great defensive play by Mini there. Style trying to get another shot off. A few pretty dekes, but Anarchist finally able to get in the way. Style not getting that finish that he's looking for, as the puck is going to get sent across. Mini not able to pick it up, knocked off of him. As Style gets a nice tap to Squiggles. Squiggles activating in the third, hoping to get a nice little bombastic start. It's a little bit of contact with the puck, but not necessarily a powerful attack. We've seen a few of these like low shots, a few nice passes. Oh my goodness gracious! But Dan, with his second goal of the night, the only person getting goals so far, a beautiful pass from Mouse bounces up and over, and Dan crashing the net, able to tap that one in. A beautiful pass, and just what a magnificent play from Dan to get that tapped in, being at the right place in the right time. And honestly, if I'm him, I'm saying, why not go for that Hattie? But oh no! That puck has a little bit of bounce to it. Let's see what happened here. A high clear bounces up and over Bard's pad. I don't know if I've ever seen that. That is ridiculous. I'm speechless at that one. And I bet Bard is very happy that Dan got that goal now, so they still have that lead. But I mean, I don't even know how you read that as a goalie. You never expect the puck to jump up that high. That is ridiculous. But as we get back into things, so Style with an unassisted goal there off of that high shot that ended up hitting the ice again, maybe trying to dip back into that same well. Squiggles there to pick it up and get that pass into the slot. Style with a great chance, but not getting the goal there. Not picking the exact target that he was looking for, as the puck is going to go into center ice. Goose picking it up, trying to find a toucan perhaps. They've got this offense buzzing a little bit. They're getting a little bit more chances, I think. Swapping out Freddie's kind of defensive, slower plays for Squiggles might help them out a little bit, but they still need that goal, even though they got one. With Dan's nice little tap in, they are still behind. Squiggles with some pretty deeks, able to get around Mini, and a high shot, but Bard jumping up into it. The little header, a great shot and a great save by Bard. Those up high shots are scary sometimes. Yeah, we saw that in some of the similar plays the other day with Sleepy in net. Sleepy with a Y, kind of jumping up and getting active for those higher shots. I've been burned by not doing that, so a great heads-up play by him. As Goose picks up the puck here going into the offensive zone. Loads up a shot, but Bard in the way, dropping those pads, getting that stick out and stopping it. Style trying to get something going here. Puck goes a little bit past Goose, but maybe Squiggles picking it up instead. Mini in the way. Style, though, still in the slot, just misses the puck, though. Mini with that stick tilt, you know he's going for that stretch pass, trying to find Mouse in the offensive zone. A beautiful shot, but Mao gets the stick on that, and Style ends up with the puck going the other way. 2 minutes left for the Toucans to kind of tie up this game. Otherwise, this first one is going to be a regulation win for the Lotus. Anarchist with a nice defensive play there. Goose picking up in middle ice, but Anarchist again in the way, gets his body there this time, and Mini ends up coming away with it. A few challengers here trying to get out of a sticky situation here, double coverage, but he rips it up and along the boards and ends up getting it out safely as this gets sent into Toucan territory again. Minute and a half left, and we're gonna have to see some really nice offensive plays from the Toucans to tie this up. But you know, honestly, from what I can tell, it's been a pretty balanced matchup. A nice shot there, but Bard knocking it wide. But it just looks like that finishing, and we've seen just a few more defensive collapses from the Toucans. And the Lotus is edging them out, being the slightly better team in this first game, looking a little bit more confident. You know, some really dynamic offensive players on the Toucans, but if they're not getting the finishes they're looking for, it's going to be a really hard time. But, you know, maybe hearing me talk down on his team says, no, I got some skills left. I got some placement. Doesn't even cut it back, just loads it up and shoots it up and over Bard. Not quite able to get the body there, going that little pocket over his pads, as we are tied with 1 minute left in the third. And an even matchup now. Now it looks like the Toucans are kind of getting their footing. That odd shot from Style kind of getting the confidence back in for the guys, where it's, you know, we're able to score, let's make sure we keep doing it. If I can be selfish, if I can let you guys know what I'm really rooting for, I don't know if it'll be regulation or if it'll be overtime, but I am praying. Oh my goodness, Mal's so far out of the crease but ends up blocking the puck. I'm hoping to see a Dan solo Hattie. That's what I'm looking for. But Squiggles denies it. Open, so open for the puck. Catches it. Anarchist not quite able to catch up. Squiggles loads it with that forehand, I think, and just rips it up and across. A beautiful play, and what a fast turnaround. The Toucans really kind of bringing it together for that last push towards the end. And the Lotus have to be kicking themselves. I mean, they had a nice lead for a while, and it just feels like it's been falling apart. Maybe getting a little bit too confident towards the end of the game, and with 3 seconds left, it looks like this will be a regulation win for the Toucans. I am surprised as I would imagine anybody else would be, and you know, it's got to be frustrating for the Lotus. You got to be celebrating right now if you're a Toucan, I'd imagine, and just making sure you're staying dialed in and ready for the next game. And it looks like we do have Mal being subbed out for the Gold Trader, who is active and ready to play. The Gold Trader, also a goalie for the Red Deer Caribou in Division 1. And man, I'll just say, I mean, it never felt like it was a really tilted one way or the other this game, but it really was looking like the Lotus were just playing a little bit cleaner, not giving up as many open chances and getting the finishes they were looking for. 2 beautiful goals from Dan. But, you know, just towards the end, the Toucans bringing it together. They have some great goal scorers. I think maybe it really worked out for them in that third period, subbing in Squiggles over Freddy for just a more active offense. Squiggles coming with that last goal, where I think, you know, Freddy's a nice reliable guy to have on the ice, but if that kind of flow of the game isn't doing what you need it to, maybe just shifting up that chemistry, shifting up the energy there is what they needed. Looks like Squiggles has left the server. Not sure who will be starting, if Freddy's going to come back in for the Toucans or if Squiggles will back. It looks like they're starting shorthanded. I'll drop a vote warm up for these guys. Maybe some technical difficulties, as Squiggles is back. And I'll drop my vote start there for the fellas. And let's get into this game too. I mean, I really feel like it could go either way. Maybe some more lockdown goalkeeping from the Gold Trader as opposed to Mal. Mal, a great goaltender, but Gold Trader with a little bit more D1 experience, maybe some better goaltending under pressure. We'll see how that change goes. Bard knocking into the side walls. And a instant long shot. Bard getting his noggin on it. A scary start for the Lotus, but held to 0-0 for now as Dan chases this puck off the wall, but Goose gonna get there first. Gonna cut in a little bit, see if he can form a connection with another Toucan. Pass off the wall to Yuno. Style picking it up, actually. Pass it back over to Goose just behind him. Gonna slow down the play a little bit. And bounces off a Lotus. Hit into red team territory. Anarchist picking it up and knocking it over Style's stick, getting his own play going. Knocks it a little bit off of a hard touch, but Mini there to pick it up. Tilting it back, going for a shot, but it looks like Mao's actually blocked it instead of getting some sort of redirect. A not necessarily a misplay, but a silly little gaff there for all of you fun enjoyers. Mini picking the puck up. Style knocking it off him, but Mini battling to try and keep it. It'll be Dan that ends up coming away with it though. Style applying some pressure, chasing after him. Dan gonna rim it around to Anarchist. Loading up a pass. Style really chasing down these guys in their own zone, but forces a little send there. Wheels picking up off the wall, ripping it down and across. Not going to find anybody though. Dan safely going to pick that up without much pressure on him this time. Get that clear up and over. Whipped across. Nobody there to pick it up though. Gold Trader practicing a little shot there, but Goose is going to get the actual contact. Anarchist trying to knock it out of the air, but Style chasing it into the corner. Dan gonna have to play some heads up defense here, hoping to cut off any passes. You know, scooping up to Style, knocked up in the air a little bit, not the reception he was hoping for. Mouse just wants to get this out safely. There's a lot of dangerous guys in this zone. As we get a Mini cleared down the ice, Anarchist able to pick it up before Gold Trader can get to it. Seeing if he can get a pass off into the slot, but Goose knocking it aside as Yuno ends up with it, ripping it up and across. Trying to find Squiggles down there. Mouse trying to close off the angle on D. Mini covering the pass as we get a nice save from Bard. Anarchist tapping it to Mouse to get it out. A little bit of a collision there ends up causing somewhat of a turnover. Style chasing after the puck here, going for a shot, but way up and over. That one is not going to force a save from Bard just yet. Knocked around to the side, but Yuno off of a rebound ends up getting the first goal this game. The Toucans really carrying that game one momentum into this game. Rips it off the pad, perfectly picking it up for that one-timer goal. A great heads-up play, way to stay attentive. And it looks like the Toucans are going to start off the first goal in game two. And I don't want to say it feels night and day, but it really feels like the Toucans have found their footing in getting those chances and applying that pressure. You've seen Style chasing those defenders around in their own zone, where they've got that confidence, and they kind of are feeling themselves on those attacks, being kind of taking those accurate shots as opposed to kind of just going just up and wide or some like slow and low into the pad shots. And another turnover happening there, and Style going for another shot, not going to get the rebound goal that time. Bard thankfully able to stay in the way. Mini going to pick it up and try and knock it away from Squiggles before another pass happens. Going to rim that around. As we get Dan applying some pressure, trying to get there before Goose does. Goose ripping it up into the duo of Mouse and Mini in the way of the puck. And a Squiggles shot not knocked in by anybody, thankfully, for Lotus. As we get another shot knocked just behind the net. Style just relentless in applying this pressure here. Squiggles going for another shot. And Bard has to be praying the Lotus just clear this out soon. I mean, this has just been shot after shot, chance after chance for the Toucans. Dan there in the way instead of Squiggles on that pass from Style. As Mouse gets that puck, picks it up, trying to get down the ice. Seeing if they can get this counterattack going. A lateral pass to Dan. Dan with the only goals for the Lotus this night. Ends up getting the puck sent over to Mini. Mini tilting it back, loading up that long shot, dropping. We're going to go up into the side just a little bit. Not going to be that goal they need, but a nice chance from Mouse. Fortunately going to make some contact, but a great heads-up play, way to stay active and kind of keep that play going as we get a Style pass to in the center. Heading towards those boards, trying to get a stretch pass down to Squiggles. Going to pick that up, a cut back in, but thankfully Mini's there to defend. GT33 stepping up and out of the crease, going for that rip down there. Drop his Style, gets it, knocks it to the side, not to a teammate, but slows down the play a little bit, lets Gold Trader get back into his crease safely. And another Style play here. Style really activating in this game. Applying a lot more pressure, I think kind of finding those rotations where he wants to be. And now it's the Lotus on the back foot. 10 seconds left in the first period, trying to figure out their chemistry, figure out their rotations to keep themselves in this game. It's been looking really dangerous for them. Bard and his defense have been doing some nice work keeping it close with just a 1-goal differential, but it's looking really different from how the night started for the Lotus, so they got to build back that confidence and see if they can get back in this game. Sorry for the silence, I'm taking a sip of my drink. Shout out to Gold Trader being in the Twitch chat too. I know there's a lot of downtime sometimes when you're playing in net, so I respect it. As we kick off the second period, still anybody's game in my opinion. I think the Lotus will be able to pull out a goal if they really try. Dan, Mr. Shooter tonight, going for another shot, but Gold Trader in the way. I do think the odds are stacking up slightly against the Lotus with this sub in for Gold Trader in the net. Like I said, just a little bit more of an experienced presence there. Bard catching the puck with the tip of his stick. And we'll see if Squiggles continues to keep that offense going, or if it's going to lead to a few more defensive breakdowns, which the Lotus have to be really hoping for, where it seems like their passing plays aren't really coming through how they want to. Many more so going for these long passes, not skating it up as much to get those tight passes, some cross crease motions. This time looks like he will spend a little bit of energy getting up the ice. Going for that long shot, almost works. Anarchist trying to get off the rebound, but not quite going to make that connection. I think it was the best play for Mini, but I do like that he gets a pretty good accuracy on that shot and almost gets a nice rebound off of it. Mini picking it up again, see if he can get another offensive play going, or if this one's going to fizzle out. And what I'm really looking for is, the only goals for the Lotus tonight have been by Dan. I'm really expecting Mouse to find some action here. I would be remiss if he didn't get a goal or another set of good chances here, as Mini loses the puck to Style. Anarch is the only defender back as Style rips it way up, and like Bard gets a little shoulder on that play gonna die early. Style kind of giving the puck away there as Anarchist picks it up and rips it over, tries to find his teammate in Mini. Mini gonna get there first, but has to battle with Goose for it. Mao's in front, just barely not getting the puck. Gold Trader able to step over and get in the way. But as I was saying earlier, I mean, I'm really looking for this offense from Mao's. The fact that he wasn't involved that much apart from a few nice chances, but no goals in the first game. I mean, he's gotten some great goals in Division 1. He got some great goals for the Castors, his former team in D2. So I think they should really be funneling this offense through him. You know, he's great at getting those goals when you need it to get done. As we get Bard stepping out, ripping it around the rim to Dan, gonna chip that over, but Toucan's gonna send that one back in. Thankfully, Mini there to safely pick it up this time. Style though, really just chasing down the puck here, turns it over. Squiggle's gonna pick it up, but Mini thankfully there to knock it to the side as Dan picks it up as well. Getting scary again for the Lotus. I mean, not like full open breakaways, but still scary chances. Dan picking up here though, a little bit of open space, you know, in the way. Dekes it back and gets another beautiful shot, but Gold Trader able to swipe at it. And Dan, I mean, just really seeming electric tonight. That one feels like it really could have gone in. Thankfully, Gold Trader, a nice little save there to keep this lead for the Toucans. As we get the puck slowing down a little bit behind the Toucans net. Yuno picking it up there with some pressure from Mini, or Mao's maybe. As we get Mini picking up the puck in his own zone. Some pressure from Squiggles this time. Your Styles hanging around there somewhere as well. A stretch pass down, but Anarchist just off the boards, not able to pick it up. Little board bounce there to try and keep up with the play. Apply that pressure to Yuno, forcing him to make that stretch pass to Style. A tap across the ice, not going to meet his teammate. Dan actually there to pick it up. They tap around, but not able to keep it. Sent straight back to the Toucans. You know, with a light little tap off the boards, gonna end up in the hands of Mao's. Getting that pass across, but just between Dan and Anarchist. A great idea for the pass, and just doesn't have the teammates where he needs them to be on that chance. Mao's gonna pick it up again here, a little bit of space. Gonna turn it around, seeing what he can get done here. A lob pass, trying to find a teammate, but Yuno perfectly in the way to catch it with his chest and knock it straight down. Style picking it up, knocking it off the boards. Battling a few Lotus for that. Mini gonna come out with it. A nice pass. Dan picking up there. Mao's staying open in the O zone. But Style gonna kind of edge him out on that. Gonna block the puck a little bit. Not making an easy pass. And it's been hard. There has been a lot of free chances for the Lotus. Seems like they really got to string together a nice passing play if they want to start breaking through this Texas defense. Those chances won't always get handed to you on a silver platter. And it's either getting those really clean plays or, as Mao's likes to play sometimes, that grind them down puck. Just getting greedy with it. Either way, you just want to get the puck on net. This long shot, maybe knocked down, but Dan not able to make the contact. Anarchist, a nice little play trying to get it out in front of the net. Not going to get the pass he needs, though. Anarchist again, low and into the pads, and Mao's in position, but the puck goes at his feet. He's not able to get a stick on that. Bard doing a little dance as we end this period. And some signs of life from the Lotus later in the period. Looks like they're piecing together a few more plays. Not necessarily getting the finishing that they're looking for, but I think if they keep up that pressure, this game could easily get tied. And I think this is far from over, and I'm really, really curious to see what we see next from the Lotus. So this is make it or break it. They really wanted to get that win that they were seemingly holding on to in that first game. And if they don't get this regulation win against the Toucans, they actually will fall to P8, as the Toucans will break that tie and take P7 for themselves. A little collision, Mini picking it up and stretching it across. Mao's hoping to pick it up, but nice heads-up play from Style to turn there. Anarchist with the puck, a shot blocked by Yuno. And it looks like, a little bit of a scrum there. But seeing a lot of nice defensive plays from Yuno, who you'd typically expect to kind of be hanging around in the O zone most of the time. But the Toucans captain is doing a pretty decent job of being where he needs to be on these rotations and breaking up those plays. Mini tilt and send, ends up being caught by Style, not catching any Lotus on that one, and that is going to be a regrettable chance given up by the Shanghai Lotus. Bard thankfully able to save that. Mini hoping for some more accuracy in these stretch passes, because when they don't go through the way you want them to, it ends up just feeling like a turnover. That's not what you want when you're down one. Anarchist picking it up, battling with Style for the puck here. Squiggles a little bit uncovered here. Dan finally catching up, ripping it up and over. maybe a chance coming out of here. Knocked back up into the air again. And just uncovered. Dangerous! But looks like the Lotus are able to get it out. Bard turning to get those pads in the way. A nice classic goalie play when the puck is behind your pads there. That little rotation trying to make a little barrier. As Mini rims it back around. Anarch is going to pick it up off the boards here. See if he can find a teammate to send it to because there is some pressure on him. Takes out that first shot. Gets it around Squiggles. A little bit of momentum here, but able to knock it. Anarch is like a little bit hard of a first touch. Hard for him to keep the puck to get some dekes going. Just a little bit too much power when you catch it that first time and you're kind of sprinting after to chase it up. You're using up your sprint to get there in the first place. Just those little things that make those chances a little bit harder as we get Mouse skating it up here. Getting that shot ready, but just a little bit wide. And again, they're starting to find these chances. Mouse had a good amount of room there. It's just all they need is one good finish to get themselves back in this game. A little bit of a scrum in front of the net. End up with Squiggles getting the puck here at the boards. A few Lotus in the way. Goose just going to go for the clear here, handing it back to the Lotus. Getting a little bit scary for them. Looks like we have Bard here stepping out, going for the goalie clear. But Style applying some pressure. This could get ugly. Thankfully, that clear goes up, high, and over. But Squiggles there to send it. Style going for the bat in. And Lotus, a little bit of a sketchy spot, finally get it out there. Mao's looking like he's going to get the puck first. A drop pass coming through to Mini. As Mini knocks it back over to Mao's. A little tiki-taka back and forth, but not quite able to keep that connection to Mao's. Ends up bouncing and rolling a little bit too far. As we get a beautiful pass over to Yuno. Great play by Mini to stay in the way there, keeping track of that defensive play. Dan loading up the shot, but going just wide of the net. The Gold Trader trying to follow that play as well. And just a lot of these close chances for the Lotus, but not those finishes coming through that they really need. And it seems like the Toucans, it's the one part that they've really dialed in is those finishes, at least when it counts. Getting that first game late, getting a goal early in this second game. About a minute and a half left in this third period. And the Lotus they have got to lock in if they want to get a win here, especially if they want to get a regulation win to keep themselves tied for that 7th place. As we get Anarchist batting for it in the air, swing and a miss though. Goose gonna rip it down. Mini able to catch it, but Mini not really getting the touches that he wants on these. He's getting in the way. He's keeping them from getting like super free chances, but those touches just aren't getting the teammates how they need to be to get these valuable offensive efforts going. Anarchist gonna try and pick it up in the corner here, seeing if he can get a pass off. Locked down by a few Toucans though. Mouse here, a little bit of space, rips it. Almost goes in. Gold Trader keeping his pad locked into that post. Not going to let that one slip in just yet. Mini clearing it through. Dan to get maybe be able to pick it up. But again, not getting that tape to tape. Dan going to overskate it a little bit. Seeing what he can get done here. Here's it high. Anarchist may be able to pick it up there. But there are 3 Toucans chasing after him that really don't want him to score. Mao's going to clear out in front. Goose hitting it to the side. A great heads-up defensive play. Mao's keeping it, really battling for it here now. Really wants this goal. As we have less than 30 seconds in the third, that are keeping the Lotus away from a double regulation loss night, which is scary for them, not great for their standings. Mini fighting for it behind the net, but Yuno going to come away with the puck here, wasting a little bit of time, just squatting on it. What a bad manners there as he ends up knocking it back. Dan going to pick it up, 5 seconds. It is do or die for the Lotus. 3, 2, 1, a final chance, but Anarchist just not able to make that last connection. And that was going to be 2 regulation wins for the Toucans. Really not how it looked like it was going to go in the first couple periods of that first game, but I mean, a great job by the Toucans to really tighten it up towards the end. A few great subs kind of edge out that skill gap just a little bit, and that is going to go the way Toucans for both games. I mean, really close games, but the finishing, especially in D2, is just really where it matters. You have to kind of, as it said in the name, finish those chances. You can get those opportunities, but the puck just has to go in the net if you want to make the difference there, and doesn't quite piece together for the Lotus tonight. He plays to be proud of, and I think there's a lot of potential there, but just not their night for getting those goals. A great Game 1 for Dan, honestly, though. 2 goals for himself. Usually not the primary goal scorer on that team. A lot to be proud of there, but just got to clean up the play a bit. And well done to the Toucans to get 2 regulation wins in the night. It's got to feel good for them. I think that is going to be it for me. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and good night and good puck. Have a beautiful one.